I'm going to keep going. Let's see. Baba John has written, he says that Eshu causes things and men to work together in harmony or suffer the consequence. Did you check that out? Eshu causes things and men, that means people in this world, to work together in harmony or suffer the consequences. Because in explaining that, we're talking about the vital force of life, all right? The vital force of life. And we associate within the Lukumi tradition that Elegba is the type of energy that represents free will of choice. And whichever way and whatever you decide, Elegba is there to, number one, warn you, say, okay. And this could be done by thought. You may have never ever seen what you call an image of Elegba. You don't know what that is, but you do know when you have a gut feeling. You do know when you get that tap on your shoulder, like, hey, I don't think you should be doing that. Or that warning, hey, that person don't seem right. They're a little dangerous. No, they real dangerous. Run. Get out the way. Yes, those are warnings from our inner head. Let's just say that our you can say, people may say my guardian angel. People may say many things, you know. But nothing exists without the Ache of Elegba, the vital force that was blessed by the Creator Himself to monitor all things that are done, uh, manipulated, said, and worked through in this existence, in this human plane. So the African themselves understood that this vital force, hey, we need to pay attention to this. They didn't have books, they had nature. They had fire, they had wind, they had water, they had the desert, they had the mountains. So they had a better connection to commune with this beautiful universe with so many with so much diversity of creatures and living things that could teach you how to survive or do more than survive. Build a community, okay? Protect yourself. And we ask ourselves, well, why does this happen? And why does that happen? I say that in the old duo of Conran, you can't know God. Nobody can know God. But we know that we're here to work, move forward in life, and do the best that we can. Baba John writes that birth, life, and death are solitary journeys despite our best efforts. The resulting consciousness heightens our awareness and fear of death and the other opponents of living beings and prompts us to seek remedies to their destructive effects. This is why we have those who are in the medical field, or let's say in our traditional times, you had healers, people who knew how to go into the bush or go into the rough spots in nature. You had societies that who were initiated to be medicinal men, be medicinal women. They were in tune with the universe. They were in tune with the God within the universe. This is what the Orisha tradition is traditionally about. Every aspect on this earth is associated with an Orisha. Um, that association with the Orisha was created by Olodumare, and Esu Arts is the messenger, the vital force. It's like the policeman of society, the police officer of life, not just the police officer, the warden, not just the warden, the president, not just the president, the overall seer, because we have to remember, or let's say maybe we don't have to remember, but it behooves us to think that life isn't going to um, dish out consequences for our actions. And this is that energy of Elegbaara. This is that divine vital force that teaches us, hey, get it together, because your life can be so much better. You can do so much more with your own happiness than to be um, destroying yourself. But hey, if you want to destroy yourself, look over there. This is the way that you're going to go. I don't know specifically about the annihilations of all the societies that we have that have been actually that have actually walked this earth. But hey, we're talking about societies that are well over 1,000,000 years. And from that, life on this earth has evolved. Baba John writes that the material world changes, but the Ashe, the power of Ashe in mathematics does not change. The Orisha, the divinities of Olodumare and Odu, the medicinal elixir pots of knowledge, are incomplete models of reality that need humans in order to be complete. That might be up for debate a little bit, but I would say Osine is Osine, um, but to actually group things together, to give reverence, to wash ourselves, to make ourselves clean, to elevate our understanding about what it is, what nutrients our bodies need. Somebody has to research it. And it is human beings that do that. Sometimes we even learn from the creatures of the earth what to eat and what not to eat. And some things that they can eat that human beings definitely shouldn't be, could not survive off of. But we watch each other. We are really, truly, to some degree, animalistic in nature, or have become animalistic in nature. It is Elegba's um, prime energy that forces us to also look within and do that inner work. What we see out here in society today, and I would say that as Ea, that means I'm an initiate of Orisha, I'm a daughter of Oya, Olo Oya. There's certain things that I don't necessarily take part in because of the Ashe, and we say Ashe, but it's also called the medicine that was placed on our Ori, the medicine that was prayed over by other priests. This is it's more than just a system, people. This is a lifestyle. This is a journey of spiritual awakening. Are we perfect? No, because Elegba reminds us that we must respect not only the most perfect thing, but also the most imperfect thing. It is Elegba who reminds us that your judgment that you pass on to someone else may also be double your judgment one day as well. Um, he also writes about this, and I'm going to read this. I'm going to skip over something here, but Allegra talks about he who condones defects, who artfully and deceitfully arranged the fragments of the thing that you broke or he broke so as to deceive the owner into thinking it is undamaged. Okay, so that whole aspect of dag, I thought that was good. I thought that was going to be good for me. And it pushes us to take a deeper look at what we choose to do. Because sometimes, or a lot of times, we jump before we investigate. We step before we take a moment and say, you know what? Let me do a little research. Let me do some investigation. Within the Orisha tradition, for very, very big, big decisions, and into even small decisions, we do a self check. And sometimes that self check can be in relationship to with our ancestors. It can be in relationship with our own Ori, because once you start to eliminate and peel off layers of, I would say, doubt, peeling off layers of, someone mentioned Joy last night. She talked about the ego, uh, you know, checking your ego, um, boastfulness, um, being unforgivable, um, pride, um, and there's nothing wrong with having some pride, but we're talking about maybe narcissistic behavior, all the things that are opposite of what we were talking about in the beginning. It is Elegba's domain when it comes to people coming together and working in harmony. So, how do we do that? How do we work through that? We use, um, let's say, um, sacred ways to practice, to communicate with the energy of Elegba. So we use OB, or we use OB cola. We also use other items, not just physical items. We use Ori, because the Ori is your most powerful as well. Your first Orisha that you come to Elebaara with, and before you even are seated in within your mother's fertile fertile womb, it is Esu Onibode Alabawaye Alabawaye, who is also one of the names. Now, Elegba Esu has many, many names. When I first came into this, or let's say when I first became aware of Orisha tradition, which for people who don't know, this tradition is based, comes from the Yoruba people. And the Yoruba people is a very large, uh, vast kingdom. If you go and study about the Yoruba kingdom, because it's not just, what do you call, they have their own language. Um, and from what I gathered too, is that they were not always in that area of Africa. They also migrated and traveled down into West Africa, into Nigeria territory. So that's just to give you a little brief information about that. This is what he talks about. What, because Baba John Mason does a lot of research. This book is um, it's packed. It's packed with info. I would say that if you love to read, and even if you don't love to read, if you have been, if you have gotten initiated or not initiated, you can get this book. I believe you can also purchase it on Amazon, or you can Google Baba John Mason's name. I believe I put it here on one of my banners. Let me see. Where is it? Here you go. Baba John Mason. So that's how you spell his name, John Mason. He has several books. This is one. Who's Knocking on My Floor? Esu Arts in the America. He also has a book on how to sing for the Orisha, and he actually did interpretations. Let's say he has uh, scribed what the words mean. So, to a lot of Orisha songs, I remember. Whew, I'm going into my 24th year as an initiate in November. So even prior to me being initiated, I was learning Orisha songs, and that book was available during that time. And I believe the book of Oreen Orisha had already been out probably 10 years prior to my initiation. So probably in the 80s, the book was published. Nice book that goes through what we call oral, goes through all the Orisha songs, praise, praise songs, orikis, um, rezos, as in the Lukumi tradition we call them rezos. So those are the sacred calls to Orisha. He says that the elders say that Elegba is the same in action as Esu. Now, I'm going to keep going for a minute, but it's much closer to Obatala, Orisha of aged coolness, and is therefore more docile, more susceptible to the influence of Ebo. We're talking about Ebo, making sacrifice. That means to make an offering. It can be Omitutu, which is cool water. It can be Ot, which is a white liquor. It can be um, fruit, a fruit juice. So any type of watery substance. One of the favorites that we give to Elegbaara is palm oil, not black palm oil, but palm oil, the orange one. Also, Ekueja, ratfish, dried ratfish, and akbado, which is toasted corn. We also give Elegbaara fruits, any type of fruits, mainly mostly anything that the mouth eats. And there are also animals that are associated with Elegbaara as well. So what he's saying is that within the Lukumi tradition, the elders say that Elegbaara, that energy, because when we talk about roads, when we talk about roads of Orisha, we're talking about an extension of that energy, or just say an extension of that creation, because Elegba has so many diverse faculties that that energy represents. But to call on that energy in one single term, we may say Eshu, who is um, how you put it, the the focal point of that energy, Eshu. And Elegba is one aspect of that energy that walks this universe, that is say more susceptible. This is what he's saying. Elegba is a receptive, a link with Eshu that is more susceptible to sacrifice. And it's real interesting to think about that, because the work, or let's say the work that Elegba does um, to manifest what one desires, or what one's will is, or what one's um, life needs for change, or what one needs for on their journey. Because it's like pick 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 and choose wisely. Okay, we're talking about, it was even thought of, because he wrote about in this book that Elegba Eshu was here when the earth itself was created. We're talking about combustion. We're talking about fire. Okay. Oh, okay. You just ordered yours on Amazon. Cool. Nice. You're gonna love it. Some of my books, you pick them up, you gotta like just, it's like breathing. You take it in bits and pieces because it's so much to remember. Some people can read something and it's in their memory like that. But this information, it takes a minute to develop a relationship with the knowing of what What is it that you're really working with? I think that I feel that once you get a base, but still there are other bases to step up on. And it's so big, it's so enormous that it's filled with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of education. So it takes time to develop how to work, or let's just say how to offer your your deepest and truest thoughts, at your thoughts of understanding with Elegbaara. Um, he says that, I'll repeat it again. The elders say that Elegbaara is the same in action, that he works in action as Esu, but is much closer to Obatala, Orisha of age coolness. He put that in there in speaking of Obatala because we are taught through this understanding that Obatala, king of the white cloth, and to also be the representation of moral character being, um, the divine Orisha, the divine concept that the Creator gave to us to say, okay, I'm going to give you this opportunity to change your life around. I'm going to give you this opportunity because you haven't been doing well with yourself. You've done a lot of you've done a lot of circumstances and situations to make the world look at you sideways. So it said that the coolness of Obatala can reshape and reform someone's very someone's very inner existence from the inside out. It's like washing you from the inside out. So that we pray to Obatala for that comfort of change, that easing into a new self, a new environment with our um, our character, because they say that if Obatala still has that 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 will, not will, if Obatala has their arms open for you, if you can reach to the concept of Obatala and change, that means that life still favors you. Let me repeat that. Because he says Elegbaara is is the same energy in action as Eshu, but is much closer to Obatala, Orisha of age coolness, and is therefore more docile and susceptible to the influence of Ebo, which is sacrifice, and Adimu, which is cooked food that is offered to the Orisha. Elegbaara is the child of the male and female principles of ethical righteousness, Obatala, and Yemowo, mother of my wealth, which is the meaning of that, Yemowo, and a close friend and protector of Oshun, source of streams. But sometimes Elegba remembers who he is, and it's just and just by your saying, "Oh hell," he enters the house, and the destructive now starts. At those times, the owl Orisha Iwori Oworo Orisha priest says, "Sweet to push him, Eshu to be tied, to be grumbled inside." So it's like 1 minute everything can be so cool. And we've met people like this. They're like, they be so cool. You might have met a potential date. It can be male or female. You might have met a potential date, and all of a sudden they was cool a minute ago. And we're not talking about actually being mentally impaired, or we're not talking about that owner of vital force, but we're talking about something that strikes a button, something that can easily switch because the right sacrifice or the right offering wasn't given, or something was said to set off that energy, or something was done to set off that energy. That's why they always say, be careful about what you say, and be more careful about what you do. That is not just a new saying. That is not just a new, um, what do you call, epiphany, or a new proverb that surfaced for African people born in Americas, because it's said in a lot of cultures. Be careful what you say, and be careful what you do, because there are repercussions. That's Eshu. What he's talking about is that flip side of Eshu, Elegbaara, that we offer our sacrifices to, because there's many roads of Eshu. And as we say, Eshu, Elebaara, here we go. Because I'm going to name a couple, and then I'm going to cut the line. On these occasions, the priests prepare a gourd filled with Sada Echo. Sada Echo is meant to cool. Eku, which is dried rat. Ejab, which is fish. Epo, palm oil. A bit of efun, which is lime chalk. Ori, shea butter. And sometimes leaves of Ewedundun. Now that's one way that you can make Sada Echo. Or you can make Sada Echo um, with cornstarch, and with um, efun. And I do actually have some. I'm going to plant these so that they can grow. Yes, indeed. Now, this is Ewe Dundun that we have here that we use. This is a sacred leaf. This is a sacred leaf of Osai. This is a sacred leaf of medicine. In the Lukumi tradition, it is also known as prodigioso. This is the leaf, we call it also the leaf of life. You can sip this in cool water. It can take down fever. stomach problems, um, headaches. But is the this is like gold. Okay. In Africa, they also have uh, Ewe. It's a little bit different. I think it's thicker and wider, and it's it's thicker, wider, meaning that it's larger. So right now, I don't know if you could see it. You see the little sprouts that are growing from it. So what I did was, because I'm going to plant it, each morning I have it wrapped in some paper towels, and I just wet it a little bit and way doom. This is very, like I said, this is like gold. It's one of the most important medicines of Orisha tradition in Lukumi society. There are others, but if you don't have this, there's a secret to this, and I will not reveal that. But you could barely do nothing if you don't have this. This cures, this heals, and many things. And as I could show you again, you can see, can you see it? The sprouts coming out the side. So I'm going to plant this and wait dun. But this is one of the herbs that is put inside our echo. When you have chaotic incidents or circumstances that is happening in your house or going on in your life, as Orisha practitioners, we learn how to cool our environment by using herbs. Okay? This is a cooling herb. It belongs to all Orisha. It's very, very special to Obatala. Okay? Epo is not really what do you call a cooling type of offering, but it is an offering we give to bring prosperity, good things for us, to also, what do you call it, so that the plan goes smoothly step by step, because it has a little spice to it. It has flavor. But this is Ewedundu prodigioso. And this is another one of my plants. Um, oh my gosh. This is a plant for Oya. Um, Croatia. Okay. Croatia. I've had this one, and they have the ones with the wide leaves. One of my very good friends, Orisha Priest, and it's starting to sprout more babies out the top. I've had this one, I have two of them since it was a baby. And are you 2 years old? It's so beautiful. So this is one of OYA'S plants, one of her herbs. These herbs are also very, very good for cleansing. So growing herbs also is a plus. Not only do you invite positive energy into your home, but you never know when you're going to need something to counteract something that might be bothering yourself, your home, or your job, your life. Ewe Dundun, Prodigioso, the leaf of life, the one I showed you before. A number one. So that's why he said Elegbaara. Elegbaara is the one that is more susceptible to uh, sacrifice. Also, Elegbas are, well, let's put it this way. Throughout the history of how the Lucumí tradition was born within Cuba, that connection to what Orisha was brought or rebirthed there, and the concept of who was ordained or had authority to do what, it opened up Pandora's box to some degree of great discussion, and we'll get into that in a minute. So when something happens, you do offering, you do sacrifice. Um, One of the things that I do, and that many people, and you don't have to be initiated to do these type of things, is that from your food off your plate, you can put it in a brown bag, a little, or you can cut a brown piece of bag, and you can feed the corners, or just say make an offering. Not just a feeding, but it's an offering. It's saying thank you, Elegba, for the protection. Protect me on these roads. Protect me on these streets. Keep the corners, the four corners around your property. Okay, or it may even be the four corners that surround your home that you're living in. Once you walk out the door, you have a corner to your left and you have a corner to your right. And around down that street, you got another corner. And then you got another street that goes back around in another corner. So we say the four corners. And when we're doing something special, we pray that only divine and good energy is there, because it's about bringing balance, making that effort. It's about making an effort. So it is the energy of Esu Elegbaara to monitor, to watch what we say and what we do. How do we create harmony within our lives? Um, and how do we react to certain things? To say some things come and some things go. It's very simple. To some degree, it's very simple. You have sacrifices they call it eboshere, sacrifice of balls of good. A priest, sometimes you can clean yourself with that little brown pack, you know, sprinkle water, say Eshu Bati so Eshu Bati Eso Ode. Okay? Eshu Bati so Ode. Eshu, we sweep to push you to grumble outside, meaning you don't want that energy in the house. The following roles of Eshu, if not satisfied, are known to upset the tranquil home. Now, check this out. Did you hear what I said? The following roles of Eshu, if not satisfied, are known to upset the tranquil home. And I'm going to go through a few. Eshu Mako, Eshu who always entangles, or Eshu Makon, Mr. Mr. Do not succeed. Um, this is the Eshu that is said to be an adult who is a chief or a thief, rather. He is transculturalized as the infant Christ in the arms of Saint Anthony of Padua or Padua. Then you have another Eshu who ferments to push respecting. Um, this Eshu always gets what he wants and wins one way or another. He is invoked by saying, and I'm not going to say it, okay? Because you be careful what you, hey, I just caught myself, all right? So there are different ones. This is a popular one that I've heard of, Eshu Alawana, the owner of quarrels, capable of being everywhere, at once whipping up trouble and ruining things. You know how things be going all good? Be like, yeah, we having a good time, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. There's a fight, there's an argument, bam, bam, bam. That's extra. All right? At least within our understanding in this tradition. Or you might say, you know what? Anytime they come around, they always bring in that bull crap, right? There is an Odu that is closely associated with unruly revolutionary child. Other hot Orisha, and this is what he named hot Orisha, Orisha that are spicy, Orisha that are very warlike, Orisha that, when they say warlike, is that they're very stern, very firm. Babalu Aye, Oya, and Ogun. The sprinkling of Wong, of a cool agent to keep down and eliminate scarcity and ruin, Awan, acts out the pun or the name of the Odu. Awanile, okay, scarcity has the house snapped, broken, small, sweet to push him to be thrown aside. As mentioned earlier, Bible says that Eshu lives with Obatala in order to curb. Check this out now. And I hadn't read this in a while, so this is deep. Eshu is very close to Obatala. And this is why Obatala is so, that energy, the king of the white cloth, the divine energy that illuminates immoral and moral character on society. That glimmer or that light of hope that allows human beings and everything within existence to see the world as a place that is worthy of living in. Because if it was not for Obatala, I don't. We in the tradition we say Obatala is the also the father of humanity. Okay, pure humanity. Um, how to work and construct yourself creatively in a positive way. Okay, to exist with some compassion, to exist um, with a formidable concept and perspective on life. It is Obatala's um, coolness that helps to um, snuff out that hot air, that steam, that fire that provokes destruction. Okay, so in Baba John Mason books, this is why he speaks